Hey guys, it's Maxine and thank you so much for watching. So in today's video, I'm going to be doing a color fill on my client, and this client is platinum blonde, or usually when we do her color it's platinum blonde. Obviously after some time of growing out, a little bit of gold comes back, but yeah, so we're going to be going from basically platinum to a dark brown. And she absolutely loves her light white, like whiter color, and so do I, but she said she was going back to college and it's going to be harder for her to maintain it. So yeah, she just wants to go back closer to her natural. And yeah, so it's going to be a pretty big color fill project today. So definitely stay tuned. Of course, I'm going to give all of my formulas like I always do. Definitely don't forget to subscribe to my channel to see future color videos. And definitely follow me on Instagram. It's at Maxine Glynn. I always leave it linked in the description. Just so you know, I always post all of my formulas on my posts. So you can definitely check out my Instagram for the written out version of my formula. But in the video today, I will definitely tell you everything I mixed up and in what steps I apply it. And because it's a color fill, I'm definitely going to be applying like a lot of orange, and because it's so white, definitely a lot of orange, red. So if you're afraid of adding oranges and reds to your client's hair, then definitely keep watching, because I'm going to show you, I'm going to be adding like a lot of a dark orange in her hair, because clearly she has like extremely blonde white hair, like platinum, you know what I mean? And even though there's like little hints of gold, this is basically platinum, you know what I mean? So I have to add back in so much of the reds and oranges that are in like a naturally dark like underlying pigment and stuff like that. So yeah, if you're afraid of adding reds in, I know it could be like a scary thing, but definitely keep watching, because you're going to see I'm going to make her hair literally like bozo clown orange, and then I'm going to darken it to be like this really nice ashy dark brown. So yeah, it's all in the formulas and the tones that you use, but to go darker, like you definitely need to do a color fill to avoid any green tones, like, you know what I mean? So yeah, definitely keep watching. Like I said, don't forget to subscribe. Also, turn on the post notifications, like click the little bell for post notifications so you're always notified every time I upload a new video. And also leave me any comments or questions that you have in the comment section, and I'll definitely answer what I can. Alright guys, so if you want to see me take my client from a light blonde platinum to an ashy dark brown doing a color fill, then definitely keep watching. Okay, so the first formula that I'm going to be mixing up is the color fill formula. I'm using Matrix Color Sync, which is a demi permanent color. I get a lot of questions on if Matrix Color Sync is demi or semi or permanent, but it's Color Sync is always demi. So yeah, just to point that out. But I'm going to be using that with 10 volume. And this client has like tons of hair. It's super long, so I'm going to be mixing up a pretty decent amount. I'm putting in the bowl 1.5 ounces of 6CG, which is a copper gold, and then I'm mixing that with 4 ounces of 8CG, which is copper gold also. And the rule of thumb for a color fill is you want to go about 2 levels lighter than your goal color. So my goal color here is about a level 4. But she has like really blonde hair, so I'm trying to take into consideration that her hair is super porous, you know what I mean? So it's okay in this case if I go like a couple levels lighter than my goal. So obviously if I wanted my goal to be a 4, but I wanted my rule of thumb for color filling is a level 6 then, you know. But I'm putting in 8CG also just because her hair is really porous, so I'm taking that into account. I'm also mixing it with 1 ounce of 6RB, which is red brown, and the red is before the brown, so whenever that happens, whenever it's like RB or BR, whichever letter comes first is what has most of the tone in that color. So because I picked the RB, there's more red than brown, and I want the red to be more pigmented because In a dark brown color, there's always a lot more red. So I definitely want to add a decent amount of red. In other color fill formulas, I might only put like a little pinch of the red brown, like just enough to get the red in there, because like another rule of thumb is color filling. You want to do red, copper, and gold. You want to add those three colors in some way or another. And a lot of times when I do color filling, I add just enough of the red just so I can say that it's in the formula, because you definitely want red to be in that formula. But if you're going pretty dark, you have to go more significant on the red, because there's more underlying red tones in a dark brown formula rather than like a light brown formula. You sometimes don't need the red, but for the most part, I always try to pinch a little red if they're going dark brown in any way. But yeah, so most of this formula is the copper, you know what I mean? Copper gold, but definitely the red brown is important. And you can see here, I'm applying this just starting with the blonde. So you don't have to go on the roots for color filling. Like, you definitely don't have to, because in the natural formula, like in her natural level, I mean, there's the copper, red, and gold, or red, copper, gold. It's underlying in her natural color. So that's the point of her color fill, is you don't have to add it to her natural level because it's already in her natural level. But because we took all of her natural level out of her hair completely, it doesn't have those tones in her hair anymore. And that's why with a color fill, we add all of those tones back into the hair. So because, those underlying tones are already in her natural root, then we just have to put it onto the blonde that we originally took it off of. And I always do like a little kind of disclaimer for my clients who do color fills, but also it's good to tell people who are just starting out doing hair or starting out doing color filling, because it is a scary thing to go and put orange or red on the hair. So I just, I say that to my clients also. Like, I'll say, like, just so you know, we're doing a color fill and I have to add in these warm tones back into the hair. So just so you know, you're going to have like coppers and reds in your color, but we're going to cancel all of them out. And don't, be afraid of that. Just trust the process. So yeah, I definitely give that like disclaimer to my client, just because it's definitely a scary thing. But like, it's also good to know that, like, if you're a new stylist, or if you're coming across color filling and you haven't really done it before, or you're a little bit cautious about adding copper or red into somebody's hair, like, it's definitely scary, especially when they're like, I want dark brown, but I don't want to see any red, or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, people who tell you they don't want to see any red, it's definitely like a whole nother level now, adding red onto somebody's hair. But yeah, you definitely have to, like, as a professional, know the process, trust the process, and also, somehow get our clients to trust the process also, because, you can't let the clients like bully you into doubting yourself. Like, if the client's saying, I don't want any red, don't put any red on my hair, but like, you have to put red on the client's hair in order for this color to come out the appropriate way or whatever, like, you don't let your clients like bully you into doing something, you know what I mean, or to not doing something. So even though sometimes clients are like, I don't want to see any red, or no orange, or whatever, that's just something that's not negotiable. Like, in this case, in a color fill, like, you have to be open to seeing those tones in the underlying pigment, or else you're not doing it right, you know what I mean? Like, for example, if I was to just, oh my god, especially on this platinum color, oh my god, but if I was to just put, I'm just imagining the tone that would have came out, but I'm trying to say, like, if I was to have just put a dark brown over her color, let alone an ashy dark brown, oh my god, that would have really been bad. But if I was just to put a neutral, or even gold, even like just gold, you definitely see these green tones coming through the color, So if I was just put a dark brown, let's say I put like a level 5 or 4 on her color, and neutral or just even gold or whatever, in the light, or sometimes not even in the light, sometimes it's straight up green, or in the light even, it would be greenish. Like, natural, like, hair, you definitely don't have any green in the hair. That is such an artificial, like, looking color. So yeah, if you skip the color fill and you just put dark brown on, you will definitely get green hair or some kind of green tone in some way or another. Like, definitely there's no way around it. Just like there's no way around like having red and orange in the underlying pigment of dark brown hair. Like, it just is what it is. There's no denying it. It's like, it's science, you know what I mean? Like, you have a color wheel, and the dark brown hair, the red and orange exists in that. So, even though the client doesn't want to see orange and red, doesn't mean you're going to see orange and red. Like, you can see at the end of this color how ashy her dark brown turned out. But yeah, it doesn't mean that you have to skip that process either. So it's definitely one of those things. And if you have a client that's honestly, if you have a client that's super, super like, bugging about the orange and the red, then just don't do it in front of the mirror. Like, claim the sink for the next hour, you know what I mean? Apply their color at the sink and just, like, let them sit there, you know what I mean? And yeah, so it's just one of those things. Like, you have to trust the process as a professional, and, don't be worried about the orange and the red, especially because, ash colors exist. Like, it's so, you just cancel them out with the ash. That's the whole point, But also, like, don't let a client bully you into doubting yourself when it comes to a color fill or adding some kind of warm tones into the hair when it's necessary, because sometimes they can be, a little bit, I don't even know the word, aggressive. But yeah, I just had to deal with a client today that was a little bit much, but most of the clients are amazing, you know what I mean? Like, thankfully, this client that I have in my chair is so chill, and she's just like, yeah, go for it. She was actually, like, looking up. She told me a funny story. She said she was looking up, different things to do with her hair, because she knew she wanted to get away from the higher maintenance blonde and go into, like, more of the dark browns, and she was, researching what it takes to go back to brown. And she said she searched on YouTube, color fills, she searched on YouTube how to go to brown, you know what I mean? And my color fill videos popped up, which I thought was pretty funny. So yeah, thankfully she's pretty chill and she trusts me. And yeah, we always hope that we have clients that just trust us and let us do what we, know is the right thing to do and stuff like that. But yeah, definitely, with color fills, they can be a little bit nerve-wracking because you are adding, like, red and orange into the hair, and you're gonna see, like, this in between stage after I wash this formula out of the hair. You're gonna see it's, like, pretty orange. But yeah, I'm gonna cancel all of that out with the next formula. And yeah, so just so you know, it's all gonna be canceled out. She's not gonna walk out of here with any type of red or orange color. Yeah, she actually wants, like, a ashy dark brown, so that's our goal for today. And yeah, you can see from this angle, like, how white her color is. Yeah, so that's why I went a little bit lighter with this copper gold formula, but then darker with the red, because we are going into the level 4, level 3, 4-ish. So yeah, it's definitely necessary to do red, copper, and gold. And yeah, just stay tuned. But, like, I know it can get confusing with all the different formulas. So like I said, I'm going to be posting this color on my Instagram with everything written out. So it's just going to be easier to follow, like, as a tool if you are going to use a similar formula, or yeah, if you have, like, a client that's kind of similar, so you can see it all written out like that. But yeah. And yeah, like, definitely leave me any comments or questions you have in the comment section, or DM me on Instagram. I'll definitely try to answer, like, as many as I can. Or like I said, I have some Q&A videos I'm going to do in the future. So maybe if I don't answer your question, like, on, social media, I'll include it in one of those videos. So definitely stay tuned for any Q&A videos if you've ever asked me any questions before. But yeah, that's also, like, another reason why the way that I do my videos is more of, like, a podcast style. Like, I definitely try to do it more of a podcast style, because I feel like me just kind of talking about what I'm doing and why I'm doing it and what I'm using and why I'm using it, and maybe different scenarios of, like, if I didn't put this on, what would have happened, or if I maybe would have done this, what would have happened, or why I didn't do it a certain way, or whatever. Like, just kind of talking more about, like, real life situations. And I just feel like more of a podcast style kind of just answers more questions, because I feel like when it comes to color, it's more than just, like, why didn't you do this? Like, one question turns into another question, or, like, why did I use, like, so for example, like, I could just sit here and say, like, oh, I used 8CG as her color fill or whatever. And then just kind of move on to, like, the next thing, but I really like to talk about why I used it and what would have happened if I didn't use it and things like that, because I don't know, I just feel like when I was learning and when I was doing color, it wasn't just the one question. It was, like, all these questions surrounding one question, you know what I mean? So I just feel like hopefully it's helpful, because I know that this would have been helpful for me, like, really listening to, like, more of a podcast type of thing. And I know it's not a podcast, but also, like, to see it being done and it being discussed at the same time, I feel like would have been the most helpful to me. So I put more effort into these videos than just like a simple time lapse, you know? Like I really try to like talk into the camera or, you know, into these videos and try to like give you as much information as possible. So hopefully it could help. But yeah, definitely, like, of course, if you have any questions, let me know, or, you know, hopefully I can answer a lot of your questions even before you even ask them, just by me talking and, you know, going on and whatever, because I do try to like include anything that comes to mind, like, and just giving you guys as much information as possible, because I just feel like why not be helpful, you know, like, yeah, like I wish this was around when I was learning, but I'm just glad to help, because, you know I like explain it pretty good, and I'm grateful that people point that out to me. So it's like I want to help as many people as possible, you know. And I'm doing these colors anyway, so I'm at work like doing these like clients and colors anyway, so I might as well record myself and then explain how I did it. I just feel like why not be productive, you know. So yeah, and I'm glad that they help. I hope they do. But definitely keep watching, and I'm gonna show you guys in a minute the next formula. I'll probably speed this next, you know, bit up just so that you're not watching me applying this for no reason, you know. Like you guys got the point. But I'm definitely gonna speed it up, and I'll show you guys what I do for her dark brown formula. I actually did two like kind of formulas, because the first formula that I did, I didn't feel like it came out dark enough, but I'll explain more in a minute. Yeah, so definitely keep watching. And you can see like the side that I started working on in the first place is already pretty much darkened up and has a lot of like those warm tones in her hair already. So it's definitely doing its thing and, you know, depositing all of that warm color back into the hair. So yeah, like I said, if your client's kind of weary about these colors, then just do it at the sink and don't even let them see it in the mirror, you know what I mean? But my client likes the type of stuff, and she was totally cool, so it worked out. But yeah, I'm going to let this process for about 20 minutes. Open air is fine, but I think I ended up putting a cap on her hair so that her ends, you know, could get a little bit of some heat from her scalp. But yeah, 20 minutes is pretty much good. I'm putting any leftover color on her ends and like kind of mushing it through. And then I'm going to wash it and condition it. And then I'm going to take her back to my station and blow dry it smooth. Like a messy blow dry is fine. And then I'm going to put on her next color. I just want to point this out. This is the reason why I did end up putting a cap on, because you can see her roots are really taking into those darker levels, but her ends are still super peachy, like they're a light peach tone. So obviously they weren't getting as much heat as the root, and that's why they weren't processing as dark. So I did wind up putting a shower cap on her head, let her sit for the full 20. And yeah, now I shampooed, conditioned, and brought her back to my station. I'm going to shake it all dry. And like I said before, my client is totally chill and loves this type of stuff, so it was cool to see it. But yeah, just be the judge of your own client. Like if they would freak out about seeing like red tones or orange, then just blow dry them like at a station that doesn't have any mirror on it, or even at the sink or something. Just be careful because there's like water, you know what I mean? But bring them to like a station that doesn't have any mirrors. But yeah, just FYI. And basically, it's the time to welcome your client to the crazy in-between stage of freaking orange hair. So yeah, this is the in-between orange bozo clown red hair. And Yeah, it's necessary, even though it looks insane when you're doing a color fill. You have to put these colors back in the hair because, you know, lifting out these colors, we're so used to lightening them out, but whenever you're light and dark brown, you're always passing the stages of like red and dark orange and medium orange, light orange, and into the yellow stages, you know. So since we are going back to dark, we have to add all these orange colors and red back into the hair since we're going to be, you know, wanting the dark brown. So it's definitely necessary, but it always looks crazy in between. But yeah, so I'm going to go mix up the dark brown ashy formula. Okay, quick freeze frame on this before I move on. I wanted to add this tip into the video just because it's such a clear picture of this like really cool like trick. So I just wanted to show you guys before I moved on. But basically, like whenever you have somebody with like really warm colored hair, like you know how sometimes you're trying to determine the natural level with the swatch and it's like hard to tell because the natural level is on the swatches are so neutral, and then if there's like any tone in the hair, it's really hard to tell, especially if the tone is like this, like super red or orange. It's like kind of hard to tell what the natural level of the ends are compared to the roots, like if you're trying to match somebody's roots up, you know. But yeah, anyway, so you definitely see that the ends are lighter, and then her natural root is like a 4 or 5, but her ends, I would say, are like a 6, like a 5, 6. But sometimes it's like hard to tell when they have so much tone in the ends. So this is the trick. If you just take a picture of the client's hair and then go to like the filters on your phone, like on an editing app or just on like Instagram, I think. Yeah, so take a picture of the client's hair and then turn the filter to the black and white, and you can see like how close or like far off the colors are, because like right now looking at this client's color that I have screenshotted right now, it looks like they're like worlds apart because there's like a straight line at the root and it's so much like lighter on the ends and stuff like that. But if you turn the photo black and white, the line of the root completely disappears. So they're really not as far off as you would think they are, you know what I mean? But if you look pretty close, you can still kind of see a little bit of a line. So that tells me that the ends are definitely lighter, although you can obviously see that they're lighter. It's just sometimes when you're matching up somebody's root color, it's kind of hard to figure out what level they are if they have tons of tone. So I just wanted to point that out and like add that little tip into this video because it was such like a clear, like example of it. So yeah, if you ever come across having trouble determining somebody's level, then just take a picture of the client's hair and turn the filter to black and white and put like the swatch next to that picture, and you can figure out the level so much easier. Okay, so this is the formula for the dark brown, the ashy. Now we're going to be canceling all of this orange and red out completely. And I always like, as a general rule for myself, whenever I go darker for somebody, I always go a level lighter than the goal because I don't ever want them to be too dark, or I don't want it to get too dark, you know what I mean? So if I wanted her to be closer to like a level 5, I would use a level 6, you know what I mean? And even though I wanted her closer to a level 4, kind of like a 4.5, 5, I wanted her like in the middle, I still used like closer to a level 6 because I just knew her hair was super porous. And so I used 6A, an ounce of 6A, and this is Matrix Color Sync, which is the demi-permanent. So an ounce of 6A, and the ash is going to cancel any red or orange completely, you know. And then I mixed it with an ounce of 7NA, which is a neutral ash, and that's also going to cancel any leftover warmth or any, you know, red or orange at all. But I used a level 7 because I think the NAs and the NJs and all the different, like, these are different tones that are newer in this color line. And I've used the NJ before, and I absolutely loved it so much, but I realized it was pretty strong on the pigment. So I never used the NA before, and I didn't want it to be too strong or come out too dark, you know. So I definitely lightened it up a little bit just in case. But the good thing about going a little bit lighter as caution is you really can always go darker, you know, if you want to. It's just so easy to go darker. It really takes just a couple minutes on wet hair at the sink to go darker. But I didn't, you know, if you go too dark, then you're screwed. You know what I mean? Like if I would have accidentally turned her hair like almost black or something, you know what I mean? Then it's like, oh, well, you're screwed. So, you know, I'd rather go a little bit lighter. So our goal is like a 4.5, 4 and 5 type of thing. So, usually I would use a level if I wanted it to be like a 4.5, I would use a 5.5. You know what I mean? Because I like to go a level lighter and kind of bump it up a little, just in case. But because her hair is like porous, I used a 6 and a 7. You know, like I kind of went a little lighter than I usually would have because I didn't want it to get too dark, knowing how porous it is. I mean, her hair was like white. You know what I mean? And we've lightened it like a bunch of times, and I've overlapped the like bleach onto the ends like a bunch of times. So I just would rather play it safe and, be a little bit cautious about it. So I did bump it up a little bit, and I knew that there was a chance I would have to go a pinch darker at the sink. But a lot of times when I'm a little cautious about it and I think there's a chance I can go darker, it ends up being the freaking perfect color and I don't have to go darker, and I'm glad I was a little bit more cautious, you know what I mean? But in this case, I did have to go a pinch darker. So I could tell, like, I washed it off. Sorry, really quick. So this formula, 6A and 7NA, 10 volume, matrix color sink, I left this on for 20 minutes also. And I am going on the root with this. I'm going roots first, and then I'm putting it all over her ends, like a regular single process. And I'm letting it sit for 20 minutes with a cap and everything. But I was going to say, once I washed this off and conditioned it and towel dried it a little bit in the sink, I can kind of tell I needed to go a little bit darker, because even though it was a dark brown, it was definitely dark brown, I could definitely see little hints of the warmth peeking through, and obviously we don't want to see any orange or red, If anything, we wanted like an ashy color, So like I said, even though in the sink, I don't remember if I show it or not, because honestly I was rushing. My next client was at that point when I was washing her hair off, and I knew I only needed to do like a blow dry left. My next client had come early, and yeah, so she was kind of like nearby, waiting for her appointment to start and stuff like that. So I don't know if I filmed it, but I really quickly just told my client, hey, I think I want to go a pinch darker. I can still see kind of some of the warmth. And yeah, I really love the tone. It came out great. I just definitely would like to see it a little bit darker. So it's really easy. It takes 5 minutes at the sink on wet hair. No big deal. Let me just go mix it up really quick, So my client was completely fine with it, and she agreed. She wanted it, she didn't want to see any warm tones. So yeah, sometimes it happens, but it's so much better off doing it that way than, oh crap, it's not dark brown, it's freaking black. Why did you color my hair black? You know what I mean? Like, that's definitely like you're kind of screwed there. So yeah, like I said, I just quickly in the sink mixed up a new or not in the sink. I left my client in the sink. I towel dried her hair. I left her in the sink, and I ran to go mix up a new formula, and I'll let you guys know what that is. So yeah, I'm going to finish applying this color, put it all over her ends, put a cap on her hair, and let it sit for 20 minutes. And I'm going to wash her in the sink, condition it, and then that's when I'm going to mix up the new color. And I just finished applying all of that color, and usually I do work it through on the ends like this just to make sure everything's really nice and saturated, but I'm kind of doing a little bit more on the ends, like working it through, because I really want like the heat from my hands to touch the ends. Her ends were kind of cold because they're sitting so far away from the scalp, you know, so I was using my hands to kind of warm up her ends a little bit so that the color takes. But yeah, like I said, I do put a shower cap on to really help. But yeah, this is not just me mushing it through right now. This is me using like the warmth from my hands. So yeah. And I didn't think I showed it, and I didn't because I was, like I said, rushing. My next client was there. But the color that I mixed up to go even darker was 2 ounces of 4A and 1 ounce of 6G. And the reason why I picked those tones was, like I said, usually I would never go to a level 4, but I didn't even want this to sit on long. I didn't want it to sit on for the full 20 minutes because I was in a rush, you know. So I only let it sit on for 10 minutes on pretty towel dried hair. I did 2 ounces of 4A and 1 ounce of 6G. But yeah, I didn't want this to sit on long. I only had a couple minutes, so I let this sit on for like 10 minutes. And then the 6G was just there so that because I knew I was using a level 4 and I didn't want it to be too ashy, you know, so I used the level 6G to kind of make sure it wouldn't be too ashy or whatever, you know. But we love how it came out. It was definitely a nice ashy brown. It wasn't overly ashy though. Like, you know, we didn't want to make it overly ashy. We want it to still look nice on her skin tone and everything. And a level 4 would have definitely been way too dark if we would have put it on dry hair and if we would have let it sit on for the full 20, stuff like that, you know. But like I said, her hair is porous. It had tons of water in her hair after being shampooed. So I knew that, you know, I needed to go darker to really let this orange be canceled out, you know what I mean? So it's still pretty light for the fact that I put a level 4 on for, you know, 10 minutes or whatever, but it was, you know, mixed with all the water that was already in her hair and stuff like that. So yeah, I just like to point out that sometimes that happens where you want to go a little bit darker or you want to like kind of tweak it a little. But yeah, whatever works to get you to where you want to go, you know what I mean? Sometimes you have to tweak it a little bit, no problem. Okay, and this is the final color, all complete. We absolutely love how it came out, and we went from a platinum blonde to a dark ashier brown with the color fill, and yeah, we're definitely loving how it came out. It's super shiny, and yes, the shadow on the ends here, it's not darker on the ends, it's just the shadow from the light and stuff like that. So yeah, that always happens when somebody has like super long hair. So even in certain pictures that I take, I like to kind of just put my hand on the ends like that and bring it up towards the light. You can really see the color. But yeah, we absolutely love how it came out. It looks so good on my client, and it just looks so pretty on her skin tone and everything. And yeah, so when she goes away to college, this will be a lot easier to maintain. Her hair will just grow and it'll just look good. She won't have any roots anymore, but I'm sure we'll do the light color in the future one day. She rocked it for so long, loved it, and I absolutely love her with the platinum color too. It's really cool. But this color looks so pretty on her. I absolutely love it. And yeah, it's just closer to her natural. And we did get like this ashier color. You see how it does have that little bit of tone still in the hair though. It's more of like that little hint of golden, but it's like ashier, you know. But it's so much nicer and prettier and richer than to see like a greenish tone. Like you never want to feel like you have mucky kind of color, you know what I mean? So, oh my God, I absolutely love this color. It looks so good. And yeah, so I hope this video helped anybody that has to go darker with a client. Like, doing a color fill is super necessary, and even though it could be a little bit scary, it's so worth it, because look at these, like, such pretty tones. Like, it's not golden, it's more of like that ashy color, but it still has like those gold tones in the hair. It just looks so natural and good against the skin tone, you know? So yeah, I hope this helped anybody who wants to go darker with a client and do a color fill. And now at least you know how to get this tone with a, like, starting from a platinum blonde, because that could be a little bit tricky too, you know. Not very many clients start with a platinum blonde color. It's usually like a level 9, you know, with a lot of gold in it and stuff. But yeah, so I hope this helped you guys, and definitely let me know if it did help you. Give this video a big thumbs up and share this video with anybody you think it could help. Leave me any comments or questions in the comment section. Definitely subscribe to my channel, especially if you guys want to see more color videos in the future. I have tons of videos to edit, so more will definitely be coming as quick as I can edit them. And yeah, so like I said, definitely subscribe, turn the bell on for post notifications. Definitely follow me on Instagram so you can see all of the formulas like written out, because I know it could be confusing. So yeah, definitely follow me on Instagram. And alright guys, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!
Oh, so give me your all. I'll take it to Mars. Oh, I'll stick like glue inside your mind. Just watch me break it.